Hello everyone, this is Chaos King Shu here from Bladestorm Elite Gaming, coming at you with our first Final Fantasy XIV tanking video. This is going to be a very basic video as it is the first dungeon of the game. But we want to go ahead and go over that because that's the best place to learn for anyone new to MMOs or new to tanking or new to Final Fantasy period. So let's go ahead and get started. In Final Fantasy XIV as a tank, the first thing you need to do at the beginning of every duty is activate your taunt. If you leave a duty and go back in using your duty finder, it will always turn off. So you do want to make sure that you're always at the beginning of the dungeon turning it on, so that way you don't run and you get wiped within the first 2 or 3 mobs. So as you see here, one of the things I like to do as a tank is I'll pull aggro and then I'll kite. Now, the way that you know that you pulled aggro, any enemy that you walk up to will always start off with a yellow health bar and yellow name over their head. When you actually have them pulled is when they turn red. So as you see here, they'll notice you with the yellow arrows hovering over and popping up. But as you see there, they have red arrows that go out after they actually take damage. While their health bar is yellow, if you do not actually deal damage to them, if your damage dealers do damage first, they'll actually pull the mob. So you want to make sure if you see that arrow go to one of your other teammates, that you actually make them a priority to deal damage to, so that way you can take the aggro. Also, if you look at the top screen of your screen, you'll actually see what monster is aggroing who, based off who you're targeting. So if you're unsure if you're being targeted, all you have to do is select that monster while you're fighting them, and you'll see who they're actually looking to attack. Now, here's the first part of the dungeon that has a little mechanic, very small. What you want to do is make sure that you pull all of your enemies to the clamp, and then you can burst them down with AoE, or you can use your single target ability if you're a gunbreaker and actually keep your health up. Something I personally like to do to help the healer out. But again, very simple. Just pull them to there are 3 clams in this room. You just want to make sure you pull all of your mobs to the clam to ensure that you can get a full clean, and it allows all of your DPSs to use all of their AoE abilities to clear it faster. One thing I do want to make sure you note is that the reason you really want to pull them to the clam is basic tanking. So if anybody's played MMOs, they understand that while your back's turned to an enemy, you cannot block or parry traditionally. So you want to make sure that when you pull them, that you're actually turning and facing them. So that way you can get parries and block off to get help with some automatic damage mitigation. A big mistake that a lot of tanks make is they'll stay in the middle of the group after they pulled it, thinking that, oh, I got the aggro, it's fine. But you're actually taking more damage than you're supposed to, making it very difficult for your healer to continue to heal you. Again, your job is to make your healer's job as easy as possible. If your healer's bored, then you're doing your job as a tank. Keep that in mind. If your healer has to be super active, either he needs to get better at healing and missing those abilities, or you're pulling way too much or taking way too much damage. Again, here's a key example of making sure you have aggro, as this fella here pulled the mob on the side. But you just go over, run over, do some damage to it, and then your taunt will do its job. Again, pull them all to the group, pull them all to the corner, face them, which I'm not doing here. So that way you start getting dodges and blocks and parries, and all that free mitigation that you get playing Final Fantasy as a tank. Plus, it allows some of your classes to do more damage when their back's turned too. So here we're coming up on the last clam. So what you want to make sure you pay attention to is the line, the purple line on the left hand side. That purple line indicates that a boss fight that you're about to enter. You don't want to enter it by yourself, so you don't end up like a very unfortunate hero that we all know. So you don't want to end up like that fella, where you die or your party members die and you gotta start all over. So just make sure when you're running the purple lines, you kind of take a second, let your team get over the line and they continue forward. Here you'll hit the little trees to activate the scenario. And they start off with some little tentacle looking things. Kill them. And then after you activate the last part, the main boss will come out for this area. For this little instance, rather. Chopper. Big looking tiger thing. There he is there. So of course you run up to him and pull him instantly. Now this boss fight is very simple. He only has one mechanic. Little AoE circle attack. Very easy to see, very easy to dodge. There it is. So what you want to do is make sure that when you step out, just use your AoE, your ranged ability, excuse me. It's not something that's imperative. You can also just run out and just wait for it to go away, but there's no reason to be lazy. Just help your DPS out as much as possible. Everybody wants to get the dungeon over with, but don't stand in it either, because especially if you're low level and just starting, that actually is meant to do some damage to you. So after you clear him, you'll go up to the next boss, which you just run through corridors like 3 dogs there, so we're just going to skip that. The next boss you'll come up on is Captain Madison. So again, you want to go ahead and get everything, pull it to you, pull it away from the group, face it so you can get all the block, parry, and dodge that you need to make sure you're mitigating everything appropriately. One thing I like to make sure that I'm doing when I'm doing fights like this, especially like just the little ones, you want to clear out the trash first, and then start focusing the boss. And the reason being is because it allows for your single target abilities from your DPS just to clean him out. Now, one thing about this boss fight, which is actually very interesting, has happened a few times to me in this dungeon, is that after you get Captain Madison low, he'll actually run away. He will not die. As you see this healer, for whatever reason, doing, he'll still actually chase. You want to pay attention here, because I've had a healer do this and a DPS, and they actually ran into the room and pulled the whole room and got everybody killed. So make sure that you're paying attention to where they're going. Try to catch up to them so you can get the pulls, and that doesn't happen. So here, there's about 7 to 10 mobs here, or monsters. Just get them all pulled. I like to pull them to the right hand side just to clear all of them out at one time. Just make sure your healer can see you, because there are some if you pull this whole room, if your healer's not paying attention, you actually can die, because they have these bowmen here that actually crit a decent amount for a beginning dungeon. Kind of gives the newbies a challenge at that point. So as you can see here, I'm actually taking more damage than I should, because I'm actually making a mistake in standing in the middle, and I correct there. Buff up and start my single target rotation to keep my health up. So after you kill the mobs here, you'll actually drop a key, which will take you into the sub zone that you need to go clear before you can move on. There's the key. Drop the captain's quarters key. So you can't go through the wave rider gate. You have to go to the captain's quarters first, and then get his key, which is just up and to the right. Nothing crazy. Let's take out the 2 mobs here. You can actually open the door while you're fighting them. Sometimes, as you see here. And then you go in here and fight this last mob in here. It's not really a boss. He's a little bit stronger than the rest of them, but he's just a bigger version of the basic mobs. He only has 1 cone attack, which is very easy to dodge. He may do it once every while. I like to stun as my regular rotation and then dodge the AoEs just to help with mitigation. Some people like to actually dodge the action, which is fine. Or stun it rather, which is fine. I prefer to just sidestep it if possible, because then I can use that for mitigation to sidestep, and then I can use the stun to sidestep, and gives you more mitigation as a tank. Personal preference, everybody has their own way of doing it. So after you grab that key, Just go out, back out the door where you came, go back to the left, and open that door. After that, there's not much here. Just a small corridor you run through. We're just going to go ahead and run through it. And then you come up on the second fight with Captain Madison here. Now this fight is a little bit different. Basically the same, but a small difference. It will start off the same, where you'll pull him and his 2 cohorts. So you want to clear the 2 first, because if you don't, especially if you're in the beginning dungeon, you'll actually get caught by the second mechanic here, and if you're not paying attention, somebody can actually die. So when Captain Madison hits about, let's say, 50 to 60% HP, he'll actually do a mechanic where he calls dogs out from the door right here on the right hand side if you're facing back where you came, right there. When the dogs do come out, all you have to do is run to them, use your AoEs to pull them, and then pull them back into the corner. He actually says, let the scurvy dogs out on the screen. That's the indicator that the mechanic's about to take place. So just make sure you just look for it and pull them over to you. You don't really have to worry about focusing them down like most mobs because they are very squishy. They're just high damage dealing. So you gotta make sure you pull them where they can kill your DPS or your healer if you're not paying attention. After you collect your loot, you'll move to the final area before the final boss. Now, you can clear this entire room. However, if you want to just get a speed clear done and over with, you actually can just run to the left side of the room. It's all your personal preference if you want all the XP from killing all the mobs or if you just want to get it over with. You don't have to, do not go on the right hand side. You don't have to do it at all if you don't want to. That's for completionists. So after that, just pull them to the purple line, finish the clear, and you'll enter the final boss fight. Or you'll again see Captain Madison meeting with a very, very angry fish, Fizz OP. And bye-bye, Captain Madison. Now this is a very basic boss fight. All you have to do is make sure you get one hit off on him and turn away from the group. That's really about it. Once you have aggro, use your single target abilities in basic rotation and finish the game. Finish this part of the dungeon. There's a small mechanic with the Unnatural Ripples that you see here in the corner, where if you DPS it too slow, there are actually mobs that will pop out from there. Traditionally, they're not too much to worry about. If you just focus the main boss, you'll be fine. And of course, as a tank, don't ever use the limit breaker. Let your DPSs do it so they can DPS it down faster. You should be able to take it just fine by yourself. And there you go. And with that, you have finished your first dungeon in Final Fantasy XIV. With that being done, just make sure if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this to like, subscribe. Also click the notification bell so that way you can see whenever my new videos come out. I'll be doing more Final Fantasy XIV guides on tanking, as well as some ESO guides for PvP, and I'll even put some of my League of Legends climb, rest in peace. You could also follow me on Twitch and Twitter, where on Twitch you'll see our schedule there for when I do stream. I stream at least 2 days a week, or try to. Beside that, everyone have a wonderful and blessed day. Peace.